Sephora found out about our brand in 2019. I was like, is that real? How did Sephora know us? ADWOA Beauty is a gender-neutral beauty brand that's catered to multicultural hair textures. What sold me on Sephora was that it was a real conversation from them. I'm a Black brand, you want to put me on your shelf, but how are you going to support me? My goal is for Black women and young girls to have Sephora as a target. I'll just kind of do it, and then when it's ready, it's ready. And when I started, I just kept going. ADWOA Beauty is a gender-neutral, modern, clean beauty brand that's catered to multicultural hair textures. When I decided that I'm just going to create this brand, I wasn't sure when it would launch. My idea was, let me just find a chemist and make the formulations and then kind of do everything on my own pace. No one has to know, I'm not gonna put it out there. I'll just kind of do it, and then when it's ready, it's ready. So I kind of did it step by step. I lived really humbly, you know. I came from a 6-figure paying job, and now I'm married with my own house, and now I'm living with my mom in her 1-bedroom apartment. So you gotta make sacrifices based on what you want. That's how I initially funded ADWOA Beauty. It ended up being about $80,000. I didn't realize at the time, or I didn't stop to think, that after making all these products, all these formulations, all these different packaging, I'd have to buy it to sell it. I literally ran out of money. I phoned a friend, and thank God I was able to make it happen, and I ended up paying her back. We're a bootstrap, Black-owned brand, and what that means is when we sell product, we go back and we buy product, and we can't buy product until we sell it. Luckily, we did really well from day one. First 14, 15 months of business, we hit over $1 million in sales, and I went to Chase, who is the bank. All of our e-commerce payments are going in, and we weren't able to get a loan. And I'm like, how many deposits do I need for $10,000 after making $1 million? Literally, somebody just pressed the button, but institutional lending is so antiquated. You cannot get it. It was a real conversation from me, and it was a real conversation from them. When we were going into Sephora, man, it's been a ride. Sephora found out about our brand in 2019 through their Sephora Noir group. Got an email from Sephora asking to send them our collection. And I was like, is that real? How did Sephora know us? And then 3 weeks later, they were like, we got your products. They loved it and they wanted to have a conversation. To be honest, I don't know where the confidence comes from. I always feel like what's for me is gonna be for me. I was actually probably a little pompous in that phone call. And I was really, really real. I was like, okay, I'm a Black brand. You wanna put me on your shelf, but how are you gonna support me? What sold me on Sephora was that it was a real conversation from them. So what I told Sephora is, if you're gonna house my brand, you have to use me as a resource. I just don't want for you to say the wrong thing, you upset my community, and then I have to make a decision. Hair is so personal to us, where it's just hair with you, it's culture for us. And if it looks performative, and if it looks a certain way, it's not going to work. We had that kind of conversation day one. And they just really impressed me. And I was like, okay, I could get with this because I could be my whole self. I don't have to show up packaged politely. I show up just like this. We couldn't get any money. I don't have enough money to have 3 months of product just sitting down. So Sephora, you know, they order a lot of product, but then they also expect you to have 12 weeks of what they call safety stock. And I didn't know how I was gonna get that safety stock. I don't have enough money to have 3 months of product just sitting down. So when they sent me the purchase order, I took my happy butt, went to the bank with my purchase order in my hand. We couldn't get any money. We spoke to 40 lending institutions, purchase order financing companies, everybody. Our warehouse manager, Marian Marshall, who is kind of the mayor of Dallas, she was all over looking for money. Marian called me on a Thursday evening and she was like, Julian, can you meet me at the coffee shop tomorrow? I think I found an investor. I was like, what? Of course, I'll meet you at the coffee shop. There's this guy named Jay. I brought my laptop. So I opened my books to him. I was like, this is what we've done in sales. The good thing about ADWOA Beauty is from day one, we had really great accounting. I showed him everything. I said, we just need this money and then I'll pay you back when we get paid from Sephora. He said, Julian, I will do it for you. I didn't know that man. By Wednesday of the next week, he wired the money to my manufacturer for me to have the 12-week safety stock. You know, you could tell the story, but really it was God. The journey is hard, but the journey has taught me that if you're doing what you're supposed to do really authentically, you will get what you're supposed to get. People will come your way once you start that will give you that help. I didn't know what was gonna happen with Sephora. I had committed, but I was trusting God to do what he said he was gonna do. I'm so sorry. Jay has just been like a guiding angel. And then one thing he's always said is, Julian, you've been making mistakes, but you've been making the right mistakes. Today I asked him, like, how did you invest in me? You didn't even know me. Like, he was like, Julian, I believe in you, I believe in your story, and I just felt that you would do the right thing. As an immigrant, I didn't have a green card at the time, so I couldn't get a traditional job. So the foundation of Julian Addo, I was born in West Africa, Liberia, and I immigrated to the States at 2.5 with my mom and my sister. We settled in New York City in a small immigrant community inside Staten Island called Park Hill. Middle class, it was just a big transition. We kind of lived through that drug epidemic that destroyed Black communities. We have a program in New York City called Work Study. And what that basically is if you're in school, you can work a certain amount of hours. And so my mom being a single mom, I wanted to work and I wanted to earn money, really, so I could buy myself Jordans and cross colors and all the cool things, but also help my mom. And I couldn't. As an immigrant, I didn't have a green card at the time, so I couldn't get a traditional job. I started being friends just circumstantially with a girl in our neighborhood, and she was like one of the biggest like house beauticians. People would come to her house and get their hair done. After a while, she would ask me to help her with roller sets or whatever. I just replicated what she did. I knew that my mom was struggling with me and my sister, so what am I gonna do? So I said, well, let me do hair because I can make money from this. So by this time, I'm 13 and a half, I'm going to high school. I got drafted to go into one of the top high schools on Staten Island, which was a really big deal. And I ended up taking myself out of that high school without my mom's consent. And I ended up enrolling myself into vocational high school, a high school called Ralph McKee Vocational Technical High School. And the reason I did that is because McKee offered a cosmetology program. So I thought to myself, I can go to cosmetology school, I can graduate high school with a license, and she don't have to pay for nothing. Through that, I was able to help my mom buy my first home, go to college. I didn't want her to be disappointed, but I also wanted to have something to do after high school. I didn't see any examples of success, right? So I didn't want to get caught up in this rat race of the inner city. You know, my mom worked a lot. So during school, my mom would work I didn't know I was gonna get so emotional. I talk about this all the time. At 14 years old, I was making $500 to $1,500 a week at a salon. I was making a lot of money. I've been making a lot of money since I was a child. And I would help my mom. I would help my mom pay the bills. So she wasn't mad at me, and through that, I was able to help my mom buy my first home, go to college. I opened a salon at 21. It was pretty ballsy, but I'm glad that I did. So I wanted that variation. I wanted to see a Black brand that showed up top shelf. Entrepreneurship is such a buzzword now. When people ask me what I did, I'd say I did hair. As Black people and as immigrants, we just hustle. My intentions with building ADWOA Beauty was to bring excellence to my community. And when I would buy hair care products, I kind of felt guilty that all of the things that I like and I would gravitate to was by non-Black people. So I wanted that variation. I wanted to see a Black brand that showed up top shelf. I pitched it to the Black brands that I was working for, and they just didn't want to do it. I sat on it for a while, and it kept bothering me that I didn't see this. And one day I literally woke up and said, I'm going to do it myself. And that's how ADWOA Beauty was born. It wasn't about putting products on the market because there were no good products. It's not my story. There's a lot of good products out there. I wanted to see a different type of brand for Black people by a Black person. The other major intention was to merge the intersection of my identity. I'm a West African born woman. I grew up traditionally African. African household, I could change my accent right now on you. When I went outside, I also grew up Black. And I hung with American kids, so there's a dichotomy there. So I wanted to have a brand that connected all Black people no matter where you were. And then our clean, sleek packaging symbolizes the modernization of Black people. So you have modern, sleek packaging with, boom, that really strong brand name that you cannot pronounce and you don't know what it means unless you go to Google. We don't have to have a struggle on display for me to be relatable to you. I am relatable to you. I'm a Black woman, but I don't have to be churning butter in my kitchen for it to be an authentic product or an authentic brand. We need Black excellence in everything. So I hope to be able to have Black people be able to see themselves in this space. Our next phase with ADWOA Beauty, I'm really excited about the new product launch that's coming up. It took us 4 years. You know, I've worked really hard on these formulations. Our Blue Tansy line. Blue Tansy flower oil is an oil that is not used. It's $200 for 1 ounce of that oil. So again, I'm bringing opulence to Black hair for the actual formulations. They're so good. It's a reparative line that's focused on strength, repairing, detoxing, and heat protecting. So I hope to be able just continue to grow our brand and grow our relationship with Sephora, help to have Black people be able to see themselves in this space, continue to do the work, make Sephora accountable to continue to do the work as a Black brand that has a seat at the table. The support for the brand and for me has been amazing. I'm proud that the brand is in Sephora, and my goal is for Black women and young girls to be able to walk into a Sephora, know that they belong there, and have Sephora as a target. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my exclusive episode of We Built This with Sephora and Hillman Grad.